thereof. But it is usually, or I should say it's unusual, that I'm speaking during lunch, because that would require me to skip a lunch. But when Tim Jackson calls you, 4 or 5 days before the conference, when he calls you from Tokyo, and you take that call, and when he asks you to speak alongside the venerable Chip Perry and Mike, then you accept that request. And when you tell him that it's 3 in the morning your time, but he doesn't notice it because he's 3 sheets to the wind after a half a dozen Sapporo rice beers and knee-deep in sake bombs, you just let it go, and you suck it up, and now I'm here now. But as I said, my name is Joe Webb. I'm an internet sales trainer with DealerKnows Consulting. We've got a booth in the back, and I am from Chicago. Maybe you heard of it. We are known for things such as, Michael, how are those Denver Nuggets doing? Anybody care about that? You guys will not have Mello after next year, I'm sure of it. Going to the Knicks. What about the Avalanche? No, because we just won last year. And anybody know this guy? Ouch. Because I know half of you, as owners, probably have season tickets somewhere. Now, I don't know if that hurts me or hurts you right there, after last year. But that's what we're known for in Chicago, as well as those old school marketing tactics. But the focus of online advertising has changed. In the past, in the early stages, your online advertising, or your advertising period, began and ended in your backyard, in your local market, in your primary market area. Whether you're in a big city, that's where you marketed to. Whether it was in the suburbs, that's where you marketed to. If you were down on the farm, that's where you marketed to. But unfortunately, as things like social media have evolved, and the fact that dealers can find you now from anywhere, so you have to be everywhere, you have to see everything, you have to be heard everywhere, then that's no longer your backyard. Everything is your backyard. We've all sold cars from around the globe to states far beyond where we thought we'd be selling cars to. But that's where we have to focus our efforts now, is everywhere. So when Chip discussed talking about merchandising, those are the type of things that can get you seen everywhere. Now, I want to talk about, as I said, in the early stages, I don't believe a sales manager's job, in my opinion, if done right, has changed over the last 20 years. Their sole job should be to TO and close deals and make gross, to manage their people, motivate their people, and train their people. That's it. Hasn't changed in 20 years. Roles like the internet sales manager jobs, those have changed. It was a long time ago when, I'll tell you how I got started in internet sales, is GM called everybody in the room together, about 30 of us in a big dealership, and he held a piece of paper in the air, stumped a look on his face, and he said, "Somebody sent in an electronic mail? Anybody know what I should be doing with this?" So I grabbed it, and immediately, internet sales manager, huh? Now I didn't have much in the beginning, much management, they didn't give me much to manage besides leads. But that's what it was. And it was 15 years ago when internet sales managers first came about. And Denver is a progressive market. For internet, it is a progressive market. The first dealership ever with a website came from the Denver area. But still, to this day, some of the internet department structure has stayed the same. Some dealerships still have that one-man team. One-man internet department who's running everything. And in the beginning, all you had to do was handle some leads, respond back to leads, send out some quotes, maybe handle inbound phone calls, and do follow-up. And that was the extent of what you had to do. And obviously, this is just an image I got, if you're actually getting 1,000 leads and turning 100 into appointments and 10 sales, fire that person. So this is just something I pulled off of Google. But some people still have one person to manage all their online prospects and all their online identity. And as I said, the early duties, you had one person, and they started getting OEM leads. And then they started getting leads from the website you built. Then they started getting third-party leads, whatever you had. And then you said, hey, you're in charge of merchandising. Take pictures of the cars, put them up online, take care of that. And then, hey, somebody needs to maintain these websites. And those are the duties that people could just barely hold on to and barely do then. But unfortunately, these responsibilities are growing and growing. As e-commerce evolves, so have all the responsibilities of your team. Because we realize that, hey, Dealer Socket is a great CRM, But it takes somebody to know how to manipulate and manage and maintain a CRM. So you need somebody who can do CRM maintenance. You need somebody who can get into content creation. I was there, a year and a half, 2 years ago when Brian Pash said content creation was going to be the most important thing for SEO, and he was absolutely right. And still, 2 years later, nobody really has one for the most part. Video marketing, social media, SEO, these are all things that we're asking that same internet sales manager to do. I'll ask, does anybody have an internet sales manager that they ask to take pictures of the vehicles? Okay, does anybody have anybody that they say, do videos? Anybody? Okay, so there's a lot of people who are going about with all these different responsibilities, call management, vehicle pricing tools. I've got some dealerships that have one person specifically whose sole job is to price vehicles out using VI. Because it's such a fun tool if y'all have it. You know, you can sit there and you play around with the little RPM digit, and you're like, man, I can raise this price $190 and be in the same place. I'll do it. It's $190 more gross if you hold it. But that's something that, one initiative that people are dedicating an entire role to at the dealership. And your salespeople, or your internet sales team, are scratching their heads. And they're saying, how do I find the time to do all this? What should my priorities be? When do I have time to maximize the opportunities, the leads that I currently have, to take care of all the social media and all the video and all the SEO and all the blogging? So good dealers have gone about hiring a digital team, and they're giving different responsibilities to different people. So it's no longer just the internet sales managers of the world. They've got, maybe you had a BDC team, you said, we need to handle these inbound calls because, Gary answers way too many calls and he just hangs up on most people when we don't have the car. So we get a BDC team in place. And then we have an e-business director, or an e-commerce director, or a internet director, or whatever amalgam of a name you want to use. And then you hire there. And then you realize that, hey, we do want an online pricing manager, a customer relations manager, or a social media ambassador, somebody to just handle that. And good dealerships, smart dealerships, are hiring a digital team and giving different job responsibilities and duties to each one. So with all these different initiatives coming out, people start saying the words e-dealership. It's the most overused term out there, and I don't like it. What is an e-dealership? Is it a certain technology that you need to employ before you can call yourself an e-dealership? Is it a metric that you need to meet before you can consider yourself an e-dealership? Or, is it just a state of mind? What does an e-dealership look like? And nobody can really answer that question. So here's my little rant about e-dealerships. I think the idea of e-dealerships are wrong. And I'll tell you why. The idea of an e-dealership is, hey, every single person on the showroom floor can help an internet customer, can manage an internet client, can sell an internet researched savvy clientele. Absolutely, I agree with that. But that's not called an e-dealership. That's called a dealership. This is 2010. So, and in the grand scheme of things, I know that Chip mentioned that one slide that said, or in the book that says, only 20% of people are actually engaging the dealerships with internet leads. And that is really leveled off, I think like 3 years in a row, because I've seen that slide before. So yeah, not more people are going on engaging ahead of time, but who wants to pass up on 20% of business? Or who wants to pass up on 20%? I mean, if you're doing it right, yeah, does the average person close 10% of leads? Absolutely. So maybe you're only selling 2% of everybody through the internet. You can look at it that way, or you can say, I can improve it, and I have the opportunity to engage a customer before they step foot in the dealership and make them walk into our dealership before anybody else. And as somebody who has handled leads myself, and that's always been my niche. Some people are Gary May, great at social media for consulting. SEO, Brian Pash, nobody really beats Brian for SEO. My niche has always been from time the lead comes in to time it sells, what it takes to get them in and time it sells. Process, templates, that's always been my thing. And let me tell you that not everybody on your showroom, not everybody in your sales staff should be handling leads. Should they be able to handling internet customers? Maybe, maybe not. You know better than I do. But there is an education level. There's an understanding that some people need to have to put together well-constructed, well-thought-out responses to customers.